Welcome to another episode of Derailed. My name is Ash.
I'm Clint.
I'm Fable.
And I'm Ashley.
And today we're going to be talking about something that is near and dear to my heart. Video games. Not you. None of you. I don't care about anyone except video games.
And that bird on your finger.
Yes.
Oh, that railroad rag. Oh, that railroad rag. It's so entrancing, it makes you fall asleep in Fargo and you wake up in Chicago. Hear that engine hum? That train's sure going some. Here comes that choo, 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 choo. That's the railroad rag.
Today we also have Fable's Kaik, named Nico.
Mm-hmm. He's brand new. I just got him last week, so that was actually one big reason for the delay of the podcast was I had to get Nico, and I had to put all of my energy, every last bit of it, into getting a bunch of commissions together and getting this bird so that I could give him a new home.
And he lived very far away, so
He
you
lived
had
in
to
Sacramento.
drive all day.
I had to drive over 13 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I got up early, and then I drove to Sacramento, and I picked him up, and I was there for like over an hour just chatting with Steve, this breeder guy I know, who I got my other two girls from. They're both also Kaiks.
And today we also have my dog Moth, which in the last episode you may have occasionally heard him whimpering and being pathetic, because he was shut in my room because we were trying to make it, nice and quiet for the podcast, but that didn't quite work out. So
yeah, it's better to just have the noisy animals with us, so if they're being noisy, at least it's a joke. It's like, oh, it's
Speaking of, we're already off topic.
Wow, I love it!
We got derailed already.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are our special guests today. They're not gamers though, so they won't have much to say.
I mean, speak for yourself. I'm pretty sure Kaiks know how to play phone games. But yeah, so video games. So,
Video games, yeah. So,
Right.
So yeah, we're going to be talking about which ones are important to us, which we think are the most fun, and why. I know that I would personally really like to start it off with two of my all-time favorite games, and I think they're both made by Naughty Dog, and it's Red Dead Redemption and The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. And I was actually talking with one of our friends earlier about how Naughty Dog doesn't always have the best combat systems. Sometimes it can feel very awkward, and sometimes not very fun. But what they lack in combat, they more than make up for in story. Their characters and the stories that they're telling are things that I absolutely fall in love with. And those are video games that I tend to prefer, that are incredibly story driven, more than side scrollers and first person shooters and things like that.
My favorite part of Last of Us is that Joel is a giant murder baby.
He's the murder dad. Where we had this joke going. I was like, "Jeez, Joel!" Because it's he goes out of his way to just smash skulls.
I was doing a no-kill run, and then I just fucking threw my hands up, and I was like, I'm just killing everyone in this city. I don't even care anymore.
So I just played commentary next to you, and I was like, "Jeez, Joel!" As you just went on a genocide run of this entire building, despite having to try to do a
I
stealth
missed
run
someone. Let me
else.
go back and stealth kill him. And
You were just that angry. It was amazing.
I was kind of mad.
Yeah, but
it was there was a bunch of cannibal people who wanted to kill me and my game daughter.
You felt justified. My game daughter is being threatened.
I was also just frustrated with the cannibal people.
Burn it all to the ground.
Yeah.
But see, that's great because it's they put you in the mindset of Joel.
You became the murder baby.
You're going through all this bullshit and everybody's trying to kill you, and finally you just give up and you're like, fine, I'll just kill everybody.
And I feel like that's who Joel is as a character.
Yes.
We come into the game and he's just given up on the world,
Yeah.
and he doesn't care if anyone dies around him.
Now, do we want to explain this game a little bit? Because it's like, I know that it's been out for a while, but some people listening might not have played Last of Us.
Well, Last of Us has been out for quite some time, so I'm not going to worry about spoilers. It's your own damn fault if you haven't played this wonderful game yet.
It's okay. There's nothing that's that spoilery anyway.
But it's kind of a zombie survival drama adventure. But instead of your traditional zombies, it's quote unquote cordyceps, where they're
Fungus
like
zombies.
Yeah, they're like mushroom zombies.
Yeah.
And the first 10-20 minutes of the game, Naughty Dog crushes your heart and stomps on it.
Mm-hmm. So your
just
first
to get you good and primed for the rest of the game, where you're kind of in Joel's mindset because you're playing Joel, and
Naughty Dog murders game daughter number 1, and then they give you game daughter number 2 later.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's it's the simplest explanation is it's zombie survival. Mm-hmm. But with an incredible story, like
got good characters in it.
Yeah, well, like Tess, who is, it's kind of inferred that she's basically Joel's girlfriend. It's like the game of how life is just terrible for Joel.
Yeah, nothing goes right for Joel.
Joel goes through trauma, and unlike many other people, doesn't really seek to relieve that trauma in any way, because Ellie at some point in the game, when Joel's is like, well, you don't understand, my daughter died, I've lost everybody, and Ellie's like, so is everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, why are you special? Like, we have to deal. And I was just like, I appreciate that moment where she basically kind of calls him out on it, and you see like this girl who's like, what, she's 14?
Yeah, she's 14.
She's like 14, and she's more mature than Joel.
Yeah, like over the course of the game, I think it covers 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. So she starts off at 14, and I think by the end of the game, she's 16 or 17.
Isn't she? I didn't realize it took. I mean, I know they go quite. They basically like cross the United States trying to get to some place called the Fireflies, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, we're going to have to remove your brain because this is going to fix the zombies.
Internet, correct me if I'm wrong. I have played this game like 5 times, but I'm in the middle of trying to complete it on the absolute hardest level.
Oh, nice.
So I'm dying a lot.
Nobody's more dedicated than Ash about Last of Us. I mean, you got it tattooed on you.
Yes, I got anybody who's been keeping up with progress on Last of Us 2. If you've seen Ellie's tattoo on her arm, I went and got that tattoo done by the artist who originally designed it, which is Natalie Hall.
She's at Purple Panther?
Yeah, she's at Purple Panther. That's here in LA. She's an amazing artist, but I feel like I really lucked out so that I could get like absolute 100% nerdery poured into this tattoo.
Yeah.
It's like this is my hardcore nerd tattoo for this game.
This squeaky boy sitting on you is just so happy to be surrounded by people. He's just loving it.
He just loves talking. He loves it when we talk about murder and death. And,
I mean, he is a Kaik. That's kind of what they do.
All of the Kaiks do. Especially Enzo.
Yeah, there's a hard rule. All Kaiks are in fact Loki.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yes.
No matter how sweet, they're all Loki.
They're mischief animals. Mm-hmm. And seriously, when we make a dark joke, Enzo every time will just start chuckling.
Mm-hmm. She learned it from me. I laugh at dark jokes, so she laughs at dark jokes.
Oh man, but yeah, so so you've played Last of Us. Did you complete it? I forget.
I finished.
Okay.
I finished the game. It was a journey.
You had a genocide in order to do it.
I was saving, like at the very end of the game, I was saving the flamethrower because I thought there would be some kind of big bad or something like I'd have to use it on. So I kept saving. I was like, I'll save it for a rainy day. I'll save it for a rainy day. And then I had it, and I realized I'm at the end of the game when I got to where Ellie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ellie was, and the hospital room and stuff. And you get to this doctor who you have to kill. He gets in your way and he's like, "No, you can't." And I think most people would have just just shot him and walked past his dead body. Me, I was like, I haven't used the flamethrower yet, so I switched my weapon to the flamethrower.
Oh my god.
There's this doctor with I don't know, he's got a scalpel or something, and I just blast him, and he's just screaming and burning, and I'm I'm just watching this and going, this is the most horrible thing I've ever done, but I don't even feel bad because I really wanted to use that flamethrower.
It's well, if I'm gonna be a murder baby, be an interesting one.
So I finally got to use it on the last enemy, which was basically a civilian. Yeah, I think you can walk into him and he'll die. You just fucking. It's just the weakest paper man, and I'm just I'm just gonna just set him on fire.
That makes that whole moment just even weirder because you spent all the game learning all these skills to take out increasingly more difficult baddies. And then here you're facing a bunch of doctors, and one of them comes at you with a scalpel of all things. That's, oh no, I'm gonna bleed. But it's this is not a fighting force, and you're just mowing down all these people who represent the remainder of educated humanity.
Yeah. To be fair, before you get to that point, you have to battle an entire building full of SWAT members, basically.
Yeah,
it's the fire.
That was
it's like the Firefly Elite that you have to just kill them all. You can't even bother just trying to run past them or sneak past them. They'll always get you.
The thing I didn't get in the game though was and I guess it's just because you're playing the role of Joel, who just fucking does not care about humanity.
Yeah.
At this point, he really could care less
if
all the rest of humanity went extinct, except it was just him and Ellie.
Yeah.
Me and Ellie, right?
Yeah.
So, but sure, he could have killed the SWAT guys. Or even killed, the head doctor who was no, this has to happen. But did he really have to kill everybody? Everybody, Joel? Really? Everybody? Every single doctor?
Mm-hmm.
They're not threats to you after a certain point. Joel, fucking stop!
Jeez, Joel!
Jeez, Joel!
Joel.
Stop it! At a certain point, this goes way beyond self-defense, and it goes into straight up, you are a serial killer. You are a murderer. Straight up.
I do think the pacing of the game is pretty good, because when you get to the point where it feels like nothing can touch you at all, that's when it switches over to you get to play as Ellie, and you don't have all your stat boosts and everything, and you're basically a walking tank with a giant arsenal at that point.
Nothing's going to kill Joel by that point, but Ellie is another matter.
Yeah, but then he almost dies in a cutscene, and you're just oh, Joel is actually not invincible.
Yeah. It's whoops. Joel got himself into some shit.
There was a serious question there when I was watching your playthrough where I was how much plot armor does Joel have?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, switching, Ashley, so what kind of games stuck in your mind that aren't Detroit Become Human? Because we already did a podcast.
Yeah, we already did that one,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to talk about it.
That's more a love to hate kind of thing.
I have a weird relationship with that game.
It's complicated.
But no, I'm trying to think of something that's been in the more recent. I think most recent game that really affected me was Undertale.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
See, I have not played that, but these two, I think it was Clint playing it and Fable watching.
Well, I made the
this
decisions
was,
actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
but so you were playing it together.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear the end of Undertale for a couple months.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow, you didn't. So you heard nothing about Flowey the Flower?
I have not. I don't know anything about Undertale.
Oh, okay. Now we
but-
get to explain it a bit.
Yeah, so Ashley gets to explain me a thing.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Undertale spoilers, warning.
though, if you haven't played it at this point, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So Undertale follows the story of this kid who falls into the underground where there are monsters, and the monsters were put there because of humans, and they're stuck down there. The first person you meet when you fall into the underground is a flower named Flowey. And oh my gosh, Flowey is just... He's terrible. He's the antagonist of the game.
Well, he does that thing where he's like, he acts like he's gonna help you. Like, it's like, oh, I'm gonna teach you about the game, and he presents it like it's a tutorial. Because this is like the great thing about Undertale is that it will set up a normal game universe and then subvert your expectations.
Yeah.
Like, Flowey, oh, this is the tutorial boss or whatever. Where we're gonna interact with him, and he's gonna teach us all about the game. And it's like, actually, he's trying to murder you.
Yeah.
So it's like he tells you, oh, just run into these bullets. They're happiness pellets. And then, of course, they hurt. And then he abruptly switches gears and is like, you're such an idiot, and tries to kill you. And then you're saved by
Toriel, otherwise known as Goat Mom.
Goat Mom.
And she
I've seen a lot of furry art of Goat Mom.
Oh my
yeah, unfortunately, yes.
People love Goat Mom.
Actually, there was so much in between the demo and the actual game release that Toby Fox made a joke about it in the true ending.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, that's how much Toriel art there was.
But Toriel, shows you the mechanics of the game, and you can either progress through the game by talking to monsters or fighting them. Toriel wants you to talk to them, but when you're playing the game, you just do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, it could actually be really challenging to convince a monster to not fight you. So, like, it's so much easier to, like, just go, I'll just bash through them, I just kill them all. And, because the game sets up this expectation of, this is going to be like a game, and if you don't explore where you can subvert the game, you're actually missing out on it. Like, so over time, like, if you just, like, murder monster after monster after monster, eventually the world around you changes, and people will react to you differently. Like, they'll run and hide, or they'll, get mad at you for, like, killing someone they loved and come at you. And, in fact, there's one person that you cannot fight in the game unless you actually do, like, murder everyone.
Yeah.
And that is Sans, who is one of my favorite characters.
Is he the short skeleton?
Yeah,
he's
so
the
there's
skeleton.
among the monsters there's like the skeleton type, and there's Sans and there's Papyrus, and they literally talk in Comic Sans and in Papyrus script.
Like, okay, so I haven't played the game, but I've seen, like I said, a lot of, like, fan art and everything. And I can't help but think that Papyrus sounds like Skeletor.
Yeah,
He does.
A lot of people say that he kind of reads like he sounds like Skeletor.
Yeah.
That's the voice I have in my head.
If he doesn't
That's
sound
how
like
I read it.
Skeletor, I would be thrown.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Sans, everybody has been saying that he sounds like Critical. Like, I don't know if anybody listens to Penguin ZO on YouTube, but he's also called Critical with a K and like a 1 for the I. I don't know. He made up the name way back when.
Yeah.
But he's a YouTuber who has this really deep voice, and he talks kind of like this, and he makes snarky comments about things, and he's just like this
Super, like, dry humor
he's
guy.
so dry, and it's really funny. And Undertale doesn't have voice acting per se, but the reason why you get this impression that this or that character might sound this way is because when their script reads out, it goes do 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 wah 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 wah. So that's one reason why you get this impression beyond just the writing of how they might talk. So Sans, the way his text like boops out sounds a lot like Charlie Critical on YouTube. So like everybody's just like headcanon his voice in for this guy. But yeah, so Sans is a character that seems to be aware he's a video game character, unlike basically everybody else. Like, even Flowey doesn't super know he's a video game character. Like, he does some fourth wall breaking himself, but it's more as like a function or a mechanic of the game. Whereas San seems entirely aware that he is a video game character, even insofar as he like uses the mechanics of the game to fight you.
He's like the Deadpool of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Ashley, continue.
So sorry.
Okay, so we got to the Skeleton Brothers, and I remember when I saw the trailer for the game, I thought I was going to hate Papyrus, but Papyrus is actually really sweet and cute. And that's the thing about Undertale is all the characters are pretty lovable. Like, they all have distinct personalities, and like, you learn to love them, which is, I think, is the point of the game, because as you're going through, you're making friends if you're not killing everybody. I played pacifist first because I like monsters and I didn't want to kill them. And it deals with a lot of, like, you get characters who, like Sans and Alphys. Both of them...
The lizard scientist.
Yeah, the lizard scientist. Both of them seem to be, like, have, like, depression. And that's relatable. I mean, I think out of all the Undertale characters, I find Alphys the most relatable.
Because she's like a huge nerd.
She's a huge nerd, but she's worried that nobody really likes her, and you don't find out her story until your second playthrough, where you find in the True Pacifist run that leads you to the True Lab, where you go into this secret lab where you find out that Alphys was conducting these experiments for the king, but you read her entries on her research on determination, which is the thing what keeps you going, that makes humans more powerful than monsters. And the experiments end up like disfiguring the monsters that she's doing it on, and she's afraid to confront the families, and so she just has a lot of baggage. There's actually a part where it talks about how Alphys like stares at the abyss of the waterfall caves, like this hole, and sometimes she thinks about jumping in it. So yeah, that gets pretty dark.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation.
Yeah,
she's just standing on the edge of like this big hole with no bottom and going, I don't know, sometimes we just throw things in there and we wonder where they end up, and you realize she's talking about herself, and it's like, oh girl, step back.
And you don't fix everything for her, but you help her understand that it's okay for her to mess up, and that there are people who like her for her. And so I always thought that was really sweet. But once you're friends with Alphys, then you move on to the True Pacifist ending, and then it does one of those power of friendship things.
Yeah.
Where everybody comes in to help you, because Flowey shows up again.
Yeah.
The little turd, and but Flowey is still able to use the power from all of your friends to return to his original form, which turns out to be the dead son of the king and queen. So
Goat Kid.
Yeah, Goat Kid, who's also adorable, but he's a butt, and you have to kick his butt, so he releases all the animals. Well, not animals, monsters.
There's like a thing in there also where you come across like symbols of souls of other humans who have fallen down the hole.
Yeah.
And like over the course of the game, like you find them out, and then when you fight Flowey, they can actually come together and like help you defeat Flowey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the souls all like, there were people that came before you, and like once you get to the end castle, like you can actually go down to a room where you see all their coffins, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like, and nobody ever talks directly about the humans, That's another thing. But when you gather the items, there's like this flavor text associated with it. So you get this idea of like who each person was that fell down, like what their likes were, or like out of like was there like a ballet shoe or something? Like
like ballet shoes and a tutu.
So all the equipment that you use and wear in the game is actually stuff that humans or the previous humans were using. So you get a feel for who each of the humans were, and you wear their equipment for stat boosts. But it's also like the game's very good about tying in like different story elements and lore, and you don't get the entire story of the game by playing through it just once or just doing the pacifist run or the neutral run or whatever.
Or the genocide run where you kill literally everybody.
Yeah.
So, do these items belong to, I guess, people who were going through and died?
Yes. Like they failed.
So because the monsters are trying to gather their souls to use their determination to open up the door that will let them out into the overworld. They're all trapped underground.
Yeah, there's this idea that the only way to get out is to use human souls, because monster souls can't like open this door out of the underground hole. So yeah, that's one reason why there's like experiments going on and that kind of thing, is to figure out what are the differences between humans and monsters, especially since like the monsters point out it's like, it's not just that they look different, like the fact that there's like dog people or cat people or skeleton people or a lizard person. It's like that's not what makes them a monster. It's something more fundamental. And that's what like when a monster dies, they don't leave behind a body, they just dissolve. They just kind of turn into ash. So and this also ties to like the idea of determination of the game, which is at first you're like, oh, it's a joke about save states, because every time you like save the game it says you're filled with determination. And you think, oh, it's just a running joke, but in fact determination is a real thing in the game. Like your save state is actually like acknowledged in the game as the reason why you don't die, like how it is that you can keep playing the game even if you like die. And that's being explored by some of the characters in the game, and Flowey is aware of this, and Sans is aware of this, and there's another character who is aware of this, who is not in the game explicitly, but apparently if you dig through the game, you can find code referring to him in the game. It was like, what, Dr. Alabaster or something? Gaster, that's right. So there's this
there's a lot of theories surrounding Gaster. He's like basically, if you tweak there's a value in the game that has, it's like basically a probability value of certain things happening. So if you're in a certain room and the value is at a certain number, then certain things will happen.
You get like ghost NPCs that show up and they'll talk to you.
Yeah, and they'll give you backstory on Gaster or other things. And, it's crazy. It's crazy how much is in this game, and the fact that there's no piece of equipment, no save point or anything. It's just there just because that's just something that's in video games. It actually has an in-world explanation. So everything is all tied together. There's no, like, hand wave, it's a game thing. It's like, I think that's what everyone really loved about this game, is that a lot of the things you take for granted in video games.
Oh man, even the whole like completionist run thing, where technically to get like a completionist run, you have to do a genocide run, because then you see everything possible.
Yeah.
But if you do a genocide run, the game doesn't forget that you've done it. So you can't. So if you were to wipe your file and then start a new one and play again, the characters actually, like, some of them will remember the one that you did a genocide run last time. Like Flowey will comment on it, and Sans does too, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think there's a couple characters that mention something,
Mhm.
and then there is, you can't get, you basically, if you try to get, like, the true pacifist ending after you do a genocide run, you
can't.
You basically, yeah. Like, there's two different paths you can take on the true ending of whether you decide to live with Toriel or go off on your own and go off on your own little adventure or whatever, you know.
You leave the hole, basically.
So it's all like, it's very sweet, heartwarming endings, but if you have done a genocide run and then deleted your file and then restarted, did a pacifist run, the implication at the end, because it changes, is that if you stay with Toriel, then like you wake up with these like red eyes and stuff, and it's like you're gonna kill Toriel. And if you go off on your own, there's like a picture that shows up with all your friends and everything, and there's X's over like all their faces.
Yeah.
So the idea is, because what happens in the genocide run is that you sell your soul to complete the game, to restart the world. So everything is the same, except you don't have your soul anymore. Like, that doesn't change. So the game remembers that, and you can't have a good ending anymore. You can only have that because your soul is gone.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The game's basically saying that some things, like, they will have consequences. And
So
even
basically, do that run last.
yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna do a genocide run, yeah.
One more thing, because my experience with the game, and where I realized that this wasn't a normal game. So, I wanted to be pacifist at first, but I couldn't figure out how to get past the first boss. And so I'm like, well, maybe I can just, fight for a little bit and then I'll be able to spare the boss. But if you get their health like halfway, then you like hit him with a hard hit and you kill him. And I was so distraught when I killed them.
Goomba?
Yes.
Oh my god!
I did the same thing.
And I was so distraught, and I was like, no! And then I opened up my save file and tried it again. And I was able to figure out how to not kill her. But then after I leave the ruins where Goat Mom lives, I run into Flowey. Flowey says, I saw what you did. You killed her. And I was like, how did it know that I did that? So, yeah, that Undertale is a trip. And like, it's one of the best video game experiences I've had in recent memory.
I highly advise playing it.
That reminds me so much of like the Metal Gear Solid
games,
when like the game used to like fuck with you.
Oh yeah, when I figured out like, I have to look into the booklet to find out how to contact Mel, or if you change your game controller port, you can Psycho Mantis can't figure out what you're doing anymore. So yeah, it's always cool when games like kind of utilize the fact that they're games rather than just trying to copy movies.
Yeah. So from last time we mentioned Sockbox and the fact that we needed to get in touch with them to see if we could possibly get some endorsement or whatever.
So did they get in touch with us?
They did get in touch with us, and I have something very special that they gave me to read.
Okay.
So, Sockbox. They're socks delivered straight to your box, faster than a fox. Worried about the pox? We got blankets made of socks, sewn all together with some vigor and mox. Why, you'll never need a detox so long as you wear our socks. Blue ones, rainbow ones, socks with polka dots, fashionable feet and toes cute enough to eat. Don't like cute? Well shoot, get the socks rock box. and have heavy metal in the bayou while you hunt some crocs. Debonair more your speed? We've got the satin ruffle box, better than any spats your old man used to wear. I do declare, mon cher, these little footy sleeves will put any man on his knees, just to get a closer look at the divine stitching found in no boutique on the street. But our socks aren't just for princesses with flowing locks. Men can wear 'em like talons on hawks. That's right, we've got socks with manly animal print designs to make those feet look as strong as a horse's hocks, barely contained in our sweaty stable box. Because a man's sweaty feet are like wild buffalo on the plains, filthy and majestic, needing something strong to pen 'em in. And if you're more of a free spirit type, we've got toeless, all-natural, non-GMO, vegan, and gluten-free socks, blessed by the best Californian shamans. Get the spiritual sock box now, and you'll receive one free purified crystal hidden inside your first pair of transcendent toeless foot blankets.
Wow.
Indeed, no sock comes in boxes that you can buy from any store. A box for your socks is where we meet the need. Sock box. So good you won't even want to wear them.
Wow.
Wow.
I am all about socks, so
Yes.
I have to get these.
Was this a travel advertisement, or what was it about?
It's all about the fact that no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, everybody needs socks.
Do they though? I wear sandals mostly.
Listen, sandals with socks is a look.
Not a good one, though.
It's a look. Well, I for one am happy that we have these high class sponsors.
How much do they pay us?
I feel like we're moving up in the world.
But how much money did we make from that?
We're being paid in exposure?
Exposure.
How does an advertising company
Yes.
pay you an exposure?
I mean, they're getting their website set up. I was told that they should have their website up and they should start making sales soon. And they'll mention us and give us a plug. I was promised.
Now, was that promise in crayon or spoken?
Moving on. So, Clint, you play a lot of Overwatch.
I do.
I love this
I-
very broad topic.
I feel like video games used to be like a hobby, and now they're more like medication for me nowadays.
We generally know when Clint is depressed because he's playing a lot of video games and staying up late.
And
playing
like it's
video
4
games.
a.m. and you're blowing people up as Junkrat. Are
But you know
okay?
what? It's better than alcohol.
Yeah.
Yes. You
I'll
say to him,
drink
he's
to that.
Yeah. There goes the last mango cart.
But no, like, has there been a game that like is your favorite or meant a lot to you because of the story or characters or what?
Yeah, I mean, like, I play a lot of Overwatch, but that's mostly just because it's a fun game and I like shooters. There's not like a lot of great ones. It was basically like you got Team Fortress and then you got Overwatch.
Yeah.
And that's
Hello.
it. It's not a team shooter though.
Oh, you're right.
I mean, I guess
it
it's
could
got
be.
modes where you can team shoot.
It's not the same as Overwatch.
It's not designed around it though.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was growing up, it was a lot of Nintendo and a lot of RPGs. Like, absolutely loved RPGs.
Mhm.
Grew up on Final Fantasy.
Oh my god, I had the biggest crush on Cloud.
Yeah.
On Cloud? Really?
That big knife, though.
I
All right.
see. Wait, big knife? You call calling it a big knife?
It looks like a knife.
It does kind of. It doesn't really look like a sword.
Yeah.
It's just like a giant butcher's knife.
Yeah.
or
What is the
something.
line between a sword and a knife?
I think it's the length.
Well, then I guess it's a sword.
Wait.
So, but yeah, actually, one of my favorite games ever was a game called Xenogears.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, it was a giant game. It took me about 80 hours to beat.
Oh wow.
But it wasn't even finished. Like the end of the game, like the last, I don't know what, 5 hours or something, is just you just kind of like walk through like unfinished areas basically, and then you go like you walk through and then you fight a boss and then there's some story and then you walk through another area and you fight a boss and there's more story and it's just so rushed through and it's like you just feel like they had something in mind but they didn't get to finish it. I found out later that they didn't get to finish it because of Final Fantasy VII, actually. It was a Squaresoft game, or a Square game, and they, basically needed to divert their budget to making the next Final Fantasy game. So they didn't quite get to finish Xenogears. There's still at least the very end with the very last boss is all finished, and there's an anime cutscene at the end and everything, and so there's an ending, but it's just beautiful, complex story, and I loved it. And there was giant robots, and there was drama, and there was war and love between kingdoms, and just all sorts of crap. And the split personalities, and that were actually like, a completely different person inside of one another person, and like
It sounds very Japanese video game.
oh yeah,
Yes.
it was like this was before I got into Evangelion, where it was my first exposure to like Freudian psychology and stuff.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, it's just they basically took the surface level stuff and they were like, all right, let's just talk about this so we can make some kind of weird superpowers or drama based on it. But
Hey,
yeah,
take this bird.
yeah.
He keeps eyeballing you. Nico has been basically throughout our talking has just been circulating from person to person, like rubbing in one's hair or like peeping against someone's shoulder and that. So if you've been hearing flutters, it's him.
There was this game called Drakengard. I don't know if you've played it or heard of it.
I've heard of it,
Yeah, I've heard
I
of
know
it.
about it.
It is really weird. It is an incredibly strange game. Like, I originally rented this game back when video and game rental stores were still a thing. I'd had some kind of like oral surgery, and so I was just kind of stuck in my room and recovering, and I played Drakengard while on, painkillers. And that made it even weirder. No joke, it has, if I remember correctly, it has a scene where it's like a giant baby descending from the clouds, and it's some kind of demon thing.
What?
But it looks like a massive newborn, and you're riding your strange-looking dragon, and you have to battle these other demon dragons and weird stuff. Like angels, but how the Bible describes them, where they're really creepy.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
And it was a really strange game. Japan makes very strange games,
Well,
but
It sounds
the music was amazing.
That sound- I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Drakengard was actually, I believe, made by the same guy who did the Nier games and Nier Automata, which is that weird Android game with the androids with the blindfolds on and stuff. I don't know.
The one with the humping robots?
Yes, the one with the humping robots.
And then somehow that actually works.
I mean, yeah, people, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
So people might be familiar with Nier Automata, because that's the most recent game that's come out. But, I think that was like his first game was Drakengard.
Oh, man.
He does weird stuff.
It was really weird. Like, I got this game because I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I get to ride a dragon and be like a medieval knight. This is cool. And I start playing the game, I'm like, this is weird.
Thanks, Japan.
Describing like being high and getting to the end of the game, and it's just like reminding me of the time I was watching Gurren Lagann, and I get to the end, and I'm like, I'm really high at the time as I'm watching that last episode. And I'm just like, did they just like transcend reality and then fight their way back to the last dimension, but then it turned out that all the dimensions were true and that in multiple forms they were defeated, but they were trapped in one, but they get back to the other reality and they're breaking the universe itself. And I'm like, the fuck, this just started off as like a mecha anime about a drill. How'd it get here?
Doesn't make much more sense when you're sober.
No.
God, like, so Silent Hill was one of the first like game series that I fell in love with.
Yeah.
And yet again, it's more Japanese media that is just really strange, but also spooky.
Mm-hmm.
And like, granted, the characters in the first one, like, they're not Japanese. I don't think any of the characters in the series are.
Silent Hill is in America.
Yeah,
US.
it's like, it takes place in America. But it absolutely has all that Japanese, like, horror influence.
One of my favorite things about Silent Hill, the first game, is like apparently there's a lot of references to Kindergarten Cop.
What?
Well, you don't. Oh,
I've not heard this. So
Okay, yeah. you need to
Okay,
be
so yeah, I guess their idea of like standard American town was based off of some locations in Kindergarten Cop, and
my
like if you
God.
look at the school and some of the like the school front itself, I think if you compare it to the school that's used in Kindergarten Cop, it's the same. And then
Did they not watch any other American movies?
I don't know.
You have to think, like, when it came to the art direction, it's like, okay, so what do we make the school look like? It's like, you know that school in Kindergarten Cop?
Yeah. Like I don't know the story of how they used it, but it's, if you look it up on the internet, Silent Hill Kindergarten Cop, you'll probably come up with the
Absolutely looking that up.
yeah. Okay. Anyways.
I love that thing in, like, I watch a lot of anime, and whenever there's like an American character, they're always like tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, as is like, they're American, and they usually have like the flag slapped on them somewhere. And I'm not saying that there aren't Americans like that, because definitely there are, but it's hilarious how homogenous that representation is. And it's just like, there's that American stereotype as like viewed by another culture, and it's weird to see like your own country get flattened down in the same way that like we kind of tend to do to other cultures. So it's like, so that's what that feels like.
Oh God, yeah, like I don't know if, have you played The Room?
I
A
haven't.
movie?
No.
No, Silent Hill 4. I haven't played it, but I've seen playthroughs.
Yeah, The Room was definitely, it was a little bit of a departure from what we were all used to in Silent Hill, but it still had that weird factor. And for me, it was a little more scary than the other ones, because you're kind of like trapped in this apartment or hotel, and for I think like the first part of the game, like, you're not sure how to get out, but you keep discovering like weird things in your apartment room, and your apartment just keeps getting more and more haunted.
Oh.
And, like,
See, all these ghosts keep just leaking in.
Yeah.
I keep calling the exterminator. He
oh
doesn't do
god,
anything
and there's
about
that,
it.
and like how you get out into, you know, the Silent Hill world is there's a hole in the bathroom, and it's like, if you want to crawl through here. It's like, no, I don't.
No,
Not really.
no. Why would you ever crawl into a hole that just appears in your bathroom? Why didn't you call like the super or something? And
Right.
Say, hey, Charlie, there's like a hole in my bathroom.
Yeah. Well, like there's like your shutters will rattle, and you'll start hearing like whispers and things like this. And at one point, through the game, because you go back and forth between your room and like the Silent Hill world, and at one point, if you trigger the correct thing, your apartment becomes so haunted that like just these disembodied faces are like floating down,
Oh no!
like snow outside your window, and it's just
I'm just imagining like contacting the super every single time when these things happen, complaining about your noisy neighbors and like how they keep throwing heads out the window.
just call up and be like, okay, so the you know, the work guys didn't get here, so I figured I'd just crawl through this hole.
Thought I could take care of myself.
Things are worse now. I'm not sure what happened.
You keep trying to leave messages. You keep trying to take pictures of what's going on, but like because it there's like a thing, isn't there, in the game where if you like take pictures, there's like other things that you can see through the phone. Or is that another game?
No, that's Fatal Frame.
Oh,
Yeah, Fatal Frame is the only horror game that I have not been able to finish because it was too scary.
Yeah.
Like I don't believe in ghosts, but the concept of ghosts is still terrifying to me.
the thought of having to like limit your frame of limit your view by the phone and like stop everything and then take a picture at the exact scariest moment in the game, that seemed like a really effective mechanic to me.
Oh my god, it was terrifying. Like I think I didn't get beyond the first like level or section of the game because it was that scary. And like if you don't snap a picture of the ghost, like that's how you kill the ghost, is you like, I don't know, I guess they're allergic to camera flash.
You know, but, everybody looks terrible with the flash on, so I don't blame the ghost.
So like if you don't grab your camera fast enough, or you know, you like swing it over too far and you don't capture the ghost, like the thing can kill you. And so it's
They're notoriously
really
shy. They don't want to be posted on Facebook.
Scary. It's like, you know,
that Facebook
Japanese,
tagging
like,
algorithm is so brutal. All their friends are gonna know about how they were stalking some poor 16-year-old girl in the dark in the hallways. Then they go back to their buddies, like their other ghost buddies on Facebook. They're like, "You scared that? Man, what a lame-o." And some other ghost calls them a perv and stuff. They get blacklisted from their business. It's like get fired from their job. Like that's actually what's chasing them away. They don't want to get found out.
oh my god, yes.
Or worse, like the photo gets taken of them, they're like perceived as a party ghost. It's like everybody else jumps into the haunted house and like, "Oh man, you can take photos of ghosts here?" That place would it not be swarming with douchebags?
Yeah.
You know it would. Every single ghost hunting show would be.
Yes, and I've been on a binge of BuzzFeed's Unsolved, the Supernatural series. So they're like talking about these ghost stories, and they're visiting these locations, and you know, seeing if there's ghosts. So I can totally see just like everybody flocking to this place to take pictures of ghosts.
That's why ghosts don't like their photos taken. It's like they know it's gonna happen. They're just gonna get mobbed.
Oh my god.
This is why they make the effort to turn invisible.
There was I forget what the show was called, but I think it was on MTV, and it was a ghost hunting show. And I just remember, like, I was pretty young, and I remember I like watched through the whole show, and it like wasn't all that impressive until the very fucking end, where they had like a camera set up and this chair just like moves on its own. And like I know now like how they can do that and everything, but I was a kid, so that like freaked me out, and I like could not sleep.
You gotta love the discrepancy between ghost stories and movies and stuff, where like blood will drip from the walls and like children will just like emerge from the ground and can grab you and drag you into the other dimension. You gotta fight demons and stuff. Versus actual ghost stories where a light flickered.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Oh, it's a cold spot.
Oh my
And it
god,
got
cold
really
spots! It
cold.
was breath. Did anybody hear that? Did you hear that creak? It sounded a little bit like fuck you. And that's like actual ghost stories. It's like so much lamer than
Like-
what we within the fictional version.
Yeah. Ooh, I saw this this documentary that was narrated by the little woman who she played a role in Poltergeist. And so she has this like, you know, kind of high-pitched voice, but it just made the whole documentary like super creepy. But it was about the catacombs.
Is this Linda Blair you're talking about?
I
Is she
forget her name.
Oh wait, I was thinking Exorcist. I'm sorry.
But yeah, like in Poltergeist, she plays like this medium or whatever who's trying to get rid of the poltergeist.
So she's
But yeah,
talking
so-
about catacombs.
Right. So she's talking about the catacombs. I think they're the French catacombs.
Yeah, I think so.
And
Those the catacombs in LA,
was-
you know.
No,
It's
I
like
think
where all the Z-list celebrities go to die.
yes. we don't talk about the Hollywood
Careers
catacombs.
go to die here. Where are those catacombs? Somewhere underneath Hollywood.
But like,
Yeah.
what's so creepy about the catacombs though is like not that it's like oh it's haunted, but the fact that it's basically an underground maze. And so a lot of people have actually, like, it's illegal to do this, but it doesn't stop anybody. But they'll go down and they'll try to, like, search the catacombs and take photos and things like this. But because it's underground and there's no source of light, it's pitch black. So if you take a flashlight, you're okay, but you can also lose your way in there very easily. So a lot of people have like gone down there and just never come back.
Clearly these folks have not played enough Minecraft.
I get lost in Minecraft too.
It's like crap, where'd I put my pickaxe?
Oh no, zombies!
Oh no, a lava monster.
Well, there's no lava monster. Have you played Minecraft? There's no lava monsters.
I thought there was.
What are you talking?
In the nether realm?
Yeah, there's nothing that lives in the lava. There's things called blazes that like shoot fire at you, but nothing lives in the lava.
Well,
Hey.
that's probably what I'm thinking of.
Hey Mojang, get on this. We need lava monsters.
Yeah.
Like
Next update.
Next update. Please add lava monsters. This is imperative because lava is already the most frightening thing in the game, and you really want the children to continue to shit their pants whenever it's like if there was a possibility of something just emerging from the lava, like I'm already scared deathless that something when I'm like mining down next to a lava pool is gonna just like knock me in there to the point where I like compulsively like cover up the lava and put like safety blocks of lava so there's no way. Because you know, once you get a diamond, you're going to fall. You will fall into lava.
Yeah.
It's like I love this phrase, "scared deathless." Like you're so scared that you can't die.
Yeah.
And then I might end up a ghost, and then someone's gonna put my picture on Facebook, and I'll never get any peace.
Yes.
So I guess now that we're back to games, I haven't talked about my favorite games.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like obviously I like Minecraft a lot, but if we're talking about games when we were younger. I remember playing, I got the N64 and it was a big deal because 3D was a thing all of a sudden. I was like, wow, ooh. But a lot of games that were 3D that came up then were not like particularly memorable. Like, we played a lot of Bomberman 64, but I can't really say that there was anything that great about the game. It didn't like influence me in any way other than, well, that was the one game we had for a while, so I guess we had to play that. You know, Super Mario 64 was really influential, and I really liked that. But I have to say that I invested a lot of feelings into Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Because like, it was so open. Like, there wasn't anything else like that. There just wasn't. Like, you know, your nearest equivalent in you know, look and top down, like, adventure games like prior Zeldas, which, you know, I didn't play a lot of because I was the oldest kid, and so we didn't have any like prior games to be introduced to. Like, Clint was the youngest in his family, so you basically inherited a bunch of games from your brothers, and they were more aware of like games catalogs. But, you know, I was the oldest, and, you know, it was up to like me and my brother to go figure out what games to get, with nobody really like guiding us on, oh yeah, check this or that out, besides like Nintendo Power, you know, and Electronics Gaming Monthly, you know, rest in peace.
I've been playing games since I was like 3, because my oldest brother got really into it when Atari came out, honestly.
The only other influence I had on gaming would be from my father, who played Duke Nukem and Quake. And my mom would be like, don't let them watch that, because of course Dad's sitting there playing on the computer. It's like, we gotta watch him play like Duke Nukem and Quake, and like, he didn't care so much, but he was also kind of like a little bit embarrassed, I think, because neither of these are kid friendly. But me, I would like adored it, because I was like, oh, blood and guts, and oh, it's so adult and stuff. And Quake creeped me out, and I really liked that. So even though I didn't like play those games, I watched him play, and I enjoyed the hell out of that. And at the time, they seemed so scary, but you watch them now, it's like, who would be frightened of that?
Yeah.
But you have to remember that I was little, there was nothing better looking, and you have a lot of imagination, so of course. Yeah. And also the music is scary. It had this sound to it that just kind of like caught your breath. But the game that I played, and well, my brother as well, because I was bad at games, so usually I would just like hand the controller to my brother, and I would just watch him here, and I'd be like, here, you play.
Yeah.
I really liked Ocarina of Time, because like, you get on that horse, and you ride across Hyrule Field, and it just stretched out forever. Like, you couldn't see the end.
Yeah.
It's like you looked around, and wherever you looked, you could go. And you could go fish some fish, or you could chase down some ghosts, or you could go to the dungeons and complete a puzzle, or go talk to townspeople. They're just doing their thing. You know, every day they go and they do their thing, and the town felt really lived in. Like, people exist here, and like, this is a farmer's market, and you're just walking around into their houses, breaking their shit. And I mean, you know, if you go back to it now, it seems very simplistic compared to what we have now. Like Breath of the Wild blows that away by a huge margin. But one reason I really want to play Breath of the Wild is because it really strongly reminds me of Ocarina of Time, and it's like its whole design focus, where the idea is it's a big open environment that you just explore, and you just kind of run into things. And it has even less barriers in it than Ocarina of Time, so I really want to play that.
Yeah.
This bird is fascinated right now.
This bird wants beer.
Bird, you can't have beer.
No beer for bird. No beer for bird.
He's going after Clint's beer.
It's like, I'm sorry, I know it has fruit all over it, but trust me, it's not actually mangoes.
It's false advertising.
It does taste like mangoes. It's so the beer that Clint's imbibing is something called Mango Cart from Golden Road Brewery, which is a local brewery. And, you know, most beers, they advertise themselves as being like, tasting like, oh, this will taste like raspberries, and then you drink it and it tastes like fart, and you're like, what the fuck? And you realize that this is an IPA, and IPAs are liars. Lying liar. IPAs are just bitter ass, and for some reason, a lot of American craft beer is IPAs, and it's just like really hopsy, and I don't like it.
It's just easy to make.
Probably that's why.
Yeah.
But but it's like I wouldn't mind. Like, there's alcohol I don't like, but I don't get angry at it. But IPA always advertises itself as being like this delicious, tasty thing that's going to be fruity or like tastes like walnuts or something amazing, and then you drink it and it's just gah.
Yeah.
It's just you can't taste anything other than bitterness. But this
it's like somebody bottled what dusty asshole would taste like, and then they like just slapped an attractive label on it.
They said basically dusty asshole, but this person ate watermelon.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So you have that shy La Croix watermelon flavor.
Hint of lime.
I love this homeopathic drink. I love La Croix, but I mean, homeopathic seltzer is a good way of describing it. Yeah. So yeah, anyway,
dropped a single Skittle
into a pool of seltzer and then scooped it out.
Yes.
That's your drink. Pay $1, please. But yeah, no, mango cart actually does taste like mango. And it doesn't just taste like mango cider, where it's like, we fermented the fruit itself.
Yeah.
It still tastes like beer, but it kind of tastes more like a wheat beer with like a mango flavor on top of that. And I don't know how they do that exactly, but it's very refreshing.
God, how did we get here? Like, we started off talking about video games, and now it's become like a beer ad.
Look, if Golden Road Brewery actually wants to sponsor this, no joke, I would be super happy to do that.
You can pay us in beer.
Please pay us in beer.
Oh my god.
We should just go there and drink and just tell the
just
waiter,
give him a
just
link
like,
to our
we have a
YouTube
podcast. You should sponsor us.
Listen to this episode. We talk about you.
Okay, that sounds super goofy, except that you and me, Clint, actually did do some food review thing. We were doing food reviews, and we go to restaurants, and we totally would tell them, it's like, yeah, we're doing like a food review blog. And, like...
Would they give you complimentary stuff?
No, never, but they were very nice to us.
Yeah.
I mean, I just never wanted to lie, and I like to talk, so...
Yeah.
They wanted to get those good reviews.
Yeah.
I mean, we never said mean things.
Speaking of good reviews, if you have anything you'd like to say or any ideas for topics that you might want to hear us talk about in future episodes, please leave a comment. Like and subscribe. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Nico loves you.
Fall into a doze and someone walks off with your clothes. You feel that engine hum. That train sure going some. Here comes that choo, 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 choo. That's the railroad rag.